And we should be live. Yep, there we are.
All right, cool. Cool, cool, cool,
We did
cool.
it.
Yep.
We're podcasting now.
Hey, how excited are you for Batman v Superman with those reviews coming out?
All those glowing reviews.
I expected not great reviews, but when like the first batch came in at like
We did it.
9% on
Yep.
Rotten Tomatoes,
Podcasting
that
now.
even surprised me.
At 9%?
When they first hit, that's how bad they were. They went up to 41 and they're back down to 31 at the moment, I believe.
Yay! Yeah, I still kind of want to see it.
Oh no, you're no, I think that's the thing is this movie's clearly going to be awful, but we're all going to see it, right? Like it's Batman versus Superman. How are you not going to see it?
I mean, if you don't like Batman or Superman, you might not watch it.
I know, but like I'm on a video game podcast to talk, and if you're listening to this, of course you're going to see Batman v Superman.
Someone might not. I can. A lot of people here probably won't see it.
Well, I think the majority will.
Yeah,
I
fair.
have a strong feeling about that. I mean, again, how did you like Man of Steel?
I liked it actually.
I wasn't really into Man of Steel. It was okay at best, in my opinion.
I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it.
Okay, I've only seen it once. I wanted to watch it again before Batman v Superman. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case
Hmm.
since I'll probably be seeing the new one this weekend.
I think that's a problem I've had with a lot of these movies, like even like the Marvel ones, is that I've liked them, but I haven't liked them enough to watch them a second time.
I mean, yeah. Well,
I think
I
Iron Man 1 and Avengers 1 are like the only exceptions.
nah, I'm definitely more into the Marvel ones than you in that case
Mm.
because I like the Captain America ones quite a bit.
Oh, I mean, I
Uh,
like the movies. I just don't want to go out of my way to watch them a second time, except for those two.
right, yeah. Whereas, like, I have gone out of my way to watch the Captain America ones like two
Mm.
or three times now. Um, But maybe that's it because I've only seen Ant Man once. The Iron Mans, except for like one, I've only really seen once. Thor, yeah, I've only seen those ones once. I like the Incredible Hulk more than your average person
That was a good one. I like that one.
with Edward Norton. I enjoyed that one. Guardians of the Galaxy, I saw twice in theaters, I believe.
That was
Uh,
another really good one too.
yeah, that one was great. And then I know it doesn't count, but I have seen Deadpool three times in theaters now because that one's fantastic. But
That is crazy for you.
it is. That's the record. Two is a common thing, but three I've never done that before. So there we go. But yeah, no. Back to Man of Steel and just Zack Snyder in general. I don't think I really like any of his movies
I liked
that
Watchmen.
much. Again, that it's like okay at best for me. Like I feel the same about it as Man of Steel.
Mm.
Like my favorite Zack Snyder movie is probably 300, and that's not a deep movie in any way. That's just, do you want to see like some slow-mo fighting? Um,
Yeah. I usually
he
see Zack Snyder movie as a spectacle.
well, and that's the thing. Like he makes a really good trailer. Like he's really good at selling his
Really?
movie and
Because I
getting you
haven't liked any
excited.
of the trailers for Batman versus Superman, except for like the more recent one where it's just Ben Affleck being Bruce Wayne.
No, I've been into these trailers, and I remember when the Man of Steel had a trailer that I was super into, and I was real excited for Man of
Like
Steel.
the Hope trailer.
Well, it was one that just made him seem like really contemplative and like low key. And then that movie was the complete opposite, and it was just an hour of him punching a guy through a building. And there was like no humanity to him, which is like my problem. But the trailer made it seem like, oh, this is gonna be like kind of like thought provoking Superman, and it wasn't.
Mm.
Because that yeah, and like Sucker Punch, that movie's garbage, but that trailer looked bananas. Um, and everyone loves the Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole.
Wait, what?
That was another movie he did. It was an
He did
animated
that?
one.
Really?
Well, he was the director of it, I guess. I don't really know how much of a role he would have, considering there's most likely an animation director at that studio as well. But his name is on that as director.
Oh, okay.
That movie's not great either. But if you want to see owls wearing helmets and fighting each other
Do I?
while the forest is on fire, you can check out the Owls of Ga'Hoole.
I mean, you've sold me. I'm there.
Um,
I'm already there.
Anyways, yeah, I'll probably see that movie this weekend.
I'll probably pass for opening weekend. I'll probably see it next week.
Yeah, yeah, but we can get real excited because Civil War is like a week or two after that.
Oh
So,
God, it's that soon?
yeah, pretty sure it's the very beginning of. Maybe it's the end of April. It actually might be the very beginning of May.
I
It's
think
in
it
a
is the
month.
very beginning of May. I'm pretty sure
You're
it's the
right
beginning of
because
May.
we looked this up. Like I swear
Yeah.
we talked about this last.
This is
episode.
not the first time we've talked about this.
But we can just focus on that. Because this movie's clearly just a total bummer. So, yeah. Anyway, Paul's not here this week. He's stuck in traffic because apparently it's a snowstorm up in Calgary.
Yeah, it's just a rainy, gross day basically right now.
Right.
My part of town was rain. I think his part of town is snow.
My part of town was sunshine and shorts weather.
I was in a hailstorm earlier today as well, so it's really just a roulette in Calgary right now.
It's lucky you.
Yay!
Paul will most likely be joining us at some point this episode, though. That was his plan as he texted us, so we'll see if that happens. But anyway, this is a podcast about video games called The Top Down Perspective. Sean Booker and John Wheeler are here.
Yo.
And it's March 24th. What have you been playing?
Not much. I got in contact with this company at MagFest that makes these reproduction cartridges of games. So like
Okay.
they'll release like unreleased games. They'll release games that were only in Japan but with English like translations and stuff like that. And we partnered up, and they sent me 2 games, so I just played through those. So I played a platforming game called King of Demons. I streamed it the other night.
And was this an unreleased or a Japanese one?
Japanese.
So there's no translation or anything?
No,
Or
it's,
is
it's
there...
translated. The version I have is translated.
So are these basically just like emulations and like fan translations online that they're just putting onto a cart?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, runs great on my Super Nintendo. We beat the game. It was fun. It's like a platforming game where your daughter was sacrificed to give the King of Demons like new life.
Okay, so it's like Mario.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you start the game by getting killed, and then your dead wife contacts you from beyond the grave and brings you back to life and gives you superpowers.
I mean, this is like cut and paste Super Mario Bros.
I know
3. So
exactly.
yeah, I remember that start and I was like, whoa, Tanuki Tale.
No, it's a fun like platformy Contra-ish game. I had a good time with it.
All right.
And then they also sent me Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon, another story.
This sounds great.
It is a Sailor Moon RPG where you play as like all of the Sailor Scouts.
Like you don't play as like Sailor Moon with your crew being the Sailor
Oh.
Scouts, or do you like rotate?
No, you like have a party of 5, and then you've
Okay.
got like 9 characters to choose from.
Oh, okay. So Sailor Moon doesn't have to be in your party.
No, I'm not sure on that, but
Well, I'm wondering, like, is it where like Cloud has to be in the party? Blah, blah, blah.
I don't know because so far in the game I'm at a point where she's all no. I know for a fact that you don't always have to have her there because eventually there's parts of the story where she's not there
Okay. All right.
because the characters like all split up and go into like different locations.
So you're not like inhabiting one of the Sailor Scouts
No,
specifically. You're just-
so
okay.
far I've been controlling Sailor Moon, but I know later on it changes.
All right.
It is an RPG. Imagine an RPG where every fight your all your magic points are recharged.
That sounds easy.
Uh, yeah.
Okay. Do they have the transforming animations on
No.
the screen?
No.
Okay.
They literally like say whatever magic words they need to say, and then they spin around, and suddenly they are Sailor Scouts.
Does she shoot her tiara?
Yes.
All right. Is the cat there?
Yes.
Is Tuxedo Mask there?
I don't know what version he is in this one because like I used to watch Sailor Moon as a kid, and like
Yeah, so did I.
he went through like 3 or 4 different versions.
Didn't he turn into like a white person at one point? Like he lost his memory?
A white person?
Well, I mean, because he wore all black, right? He a
Y-
tuxedo.
Do you
if
mean
will.
what the fuck was his name? Moonlight Knight, I think was what they called the character. He looked like
Honestly,
he looked
I
like a
don't remember his
Persian
name at
warrior.
all.
He
Yeah,
looked like a
that's
Persian
the-
warrior.
He looked like like Arabian or something.
Yeah.
and I thought it was because he like lost his memory, and I don't remember how he got it back or like how it even happened. I just remember at one point he had all white clothes as opposed to the tuxedo at one point. And you're saying maybe he's that version?
I don't know. It could be. I think they made like another one or two after that, so who knows?
Okay.
But no, it's a fun, goofy little RPG. If you're into Sailor Moon, it's good. And that's all I
So
really played.
does this company like sell these
Yeah,
typically or
you can go to cartridgearcade.com is their website, and they actually gave me a discount code to give to people. So if you type in Proton John 10, you get 10% off.
like all one word?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So like I'm just kind of curious about this deal, and I don't know how much you can even talk about it. Like, were they just like, "Hey, you plug us," or was it in order and we'll give you stuff, or how did that
They were just
happen?
like, "Hey, plug us. We're gonna send you these two games for free, and like if anything comes out of it, then maybe we'll send you more."
That's cool. Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna
Very.
buy stuff from them anyways because
Do you have like your eyes set on some specific things?
I have to look through and see what they have because I already bought like a dozen games off them at Magfest.
Okay, what did you pick up already? If you can mention them, I don't know if
Uh,
they're secrets.
Retro Game Challenge 2, which is the sequel to Retro Game Challenge. It's based off of Game Center CX, that Japanese show.
I don't. I've
The
never
one
even heard
about
of.
the one about the Japanese comedian who is locked in a room and has to beat a game every week.
I've never heard of this.
You've never
Please tell
seen
me
Game
more.
Center CX?
I've. This is the first I've heard of this.
Dude, you might actually like that. It's like
I'm sure I would. Like Japanese game shows are actually the best game shows.
I wouldn't really call it a game show. Like it's a literally like a show about video games.
Okay. I
Like
mean,
he's
I would
just a
call it a
comedian
good
and
show.
he's not very good at video games, so he has to try to get through like some of the hardest games that ever came out, like Battletoads, a bunch of Japanese ones like Takeshi's Challenge, Mario Brothers Lost Levels, Mega Man, all this other stuff.
Where are you watching these?
There is a subtitle group from Something Awful that usually covers them, so that's where I've watched a bunch of them.
Okay. All right. Are they like on YouTube?
Yeah, and then you
Okay.
can download them as well. They're really enjoyable.
All right. That sounds cool.
Yeah, no, I recommend watching that show. And
Did
then
you ever
there's
watch there was a reality TV series. Oh man, this would have been about 6 years ago or something. It was when Wipeout first started.
hmm
Um, they had a game show. They had a reality show that happened would air right after Wipeout called "I Survived a Japanese Game Show,"
Oh yeah,
and the contestants would go on this game show called Majide, and that just looked insane.
is that the one with
Uh,
Human
um,
Tetris?
no, no, didn't have human Tetris. They were like these weird obstacle courses they would set up, and like they were kind of like relay races. You like your team would do different sections, but it was basically they had like 10 people from America go and live in this state in Japan, and it was half of it was kind of like, hey, this week we're gonna do this Japanese, um, like cultural, thing. Whereas it could be like making sushi or something or blah 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 whatever. And then the other half would be like, all right, now whoever did the worst on the thing has to compete in Majide, and it just looked nuts. And I was like, man, I really want to go to a Japanese game show because they just seem crazy, and they're always the best.
They
Hole
definitely
in
seem
the
a lot
wall.
more interesting than American ones.
Yeah, most extreme elimination challenge. I
That
ran
was
into
that
that
was
again on.
Takeshi's Castle,
Oh, you're right. Now yes, you're correct. Now that I remember,
or is it? Yeah,
I,
it's Castle. I thought it was Challenge for a second, but it's Castle.
it is Castle. You're right. This is great. Okay. Yeah, someone in the chat's even saying that exact thing. Okay, cool. All right, well that's it for this week. Oh, we got to do our weekly check-in with what was it called last time? Heroes Unite.
No, it was. I think it switched to Fantasy Monster.
That's new. What was it last week?
Oh my god, I've lost track.
It was something Unite,
Mega
I thought.
Monster. Mega Monster.
No way, that is also new. I could have sworn it was something Unite.
Elves Union.
Yeah, after that it turned into something else after that.
Mega Monster. Then it became Fantasy Monster, and now they're in a weird spot. Let me see if I can find it here now. They're in a weird spot where supposedly now there's two versions of the game. The one I'm playing, which is Fantasy Monster, and there's another one called. Oh my god, I don't even know if I can even find it anymore. No, I can't. There's no notice about what the game is called anymore. Shit.
So it's just Fantasy Monster. There's only one.
No, because there's a second one, and I don't remember what the hell it's called.
Someone in the chat literally just said it's Magic Elves for me. I don't
That's the
know if
one.
these.
That's the new name. Magic Elves.
I thought maybe he was one being facetious, just or two, it actually did have another name. And there's like, so is there like weird version control going on where it's like the real players, they play on this one?
No, it's because they keep having to release new versions to get away from copyright issues or whatever's going on.
So
And
if you
like,
wanted like the most pure version of this, should you have downloaded it back when it was Super Evolution or whatever the
no,
first
because
one was?
what happens is they when they change it, those don't really work anymore.
No,
Except
no,
this,
wait. But then take your phone offline.
no, because it's an online game.
Oh, okay, so you can't play it offline at all. It has to be connected to the internet.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a bummer. But okay, so there's two versions now,
Yeah.
and just for the record, it's Magic Elves and
Magic
your
El.
ver
I think the other version, the version I'm playing right now, is not available in the store anymore. I think Magic Elves is the only one that's available in the store.
So yours is gonna update soon, is what you're saying?
Supposedly, this one's fine. Supposedly, this one's not an issue.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's so weird.
everything
Uh,
works fine in Fantasy Monster, but there's also Elves Union.
Magic Elves, you mean?
Or sorry, yeah, Magic Elves. Elves Union was the
Right.
previous one.
It was one of the previous ones. I wonder why they went back to elves. Didn't stick with the monster thing.
Don't know. Maybe the
There's
monster was
a
too
there,
close.
there's a wonderful article that should be written about this company when this is all said and done. And I'm looking
I'm
forward
curious
to
how many
reading that.
versions there are going to be at the end of the day.
I'm curious the reasons why they came up with these things. I'm waiting for that day. Okay, that was it, right?
Yep.
Okay, I've been playing two new games. The first one is Pokken Tournament.
Okay.
I've only put about an hour into this because I've been playing a lot more of the second game, but we'll get into that later. I'm surprised you're not playing Pokken Tournament. Did you pick it up?
Yeah. Now the reason I haven't played it is because I've been doing a Poker Stars promotion on my Twitch for like the past 2 weeks. So
Okay.
there's my copy of Pokken.
Did you get a Dark Mewtwo
Yeah.
amiibo card?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
What
this
does
is
that
my
actually
first.
even do? I
I
forget.
was gonna ask you that because I was like,
I
this is my first amiibo card. Are they just amiibos that are cheaper to print?
Yes.
Great. Okay.
I believe they work and unlock as either a costume for Shadow Mewtwo or you can play as Shadow Mewtwo. It's one of the two.
Oh, it's not Dark Mewtwo. It's Shadow Mewtwo.
You might be right. Hang on. No, it is called Shadow Mewtwo.
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. Don't take my word for it. I don't know. Um. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, I've only played about an hour. Um. It's real easy, but I'm
Mm.
only an hour into it. I'm playing it as Blaziken as my main one. Which my girlfriend did not approve of. She was like, "Play as anything other than that," and I was like, you don't want me to be this cool like fire chicken?" She really wanted was it Suicune? Has that how you pronounce it?
I've
The
just
legendary
started calling
dog.
him Suitcase because I'm so sick of trying to say his real name. But I
Sure.
believe it's
Um,
Suicune or Suicane.
um, so there's a bunch of different Pokemon. You can play as Gengar. You can play as a Machamp, who he seems pretty funny because he flexes a lot.
Yeah.
There's two different Pikachu's.
I thought that was a little silly.
That is pretty silly. Chandelure is in there, which I was like, would you prefer me to play as this Chandelier Pokemon? And she was like, that thing sucks. And I was like, you're right. Um,
Oh, Sean, you said the name right apparently.
Suicune, all right. Sweet corn. That's what I'm seeing. Oh,
I seriously am just gonna
Suicune.
keep calling it Suitcase. I don't care.
Lucario's in it. And Lucario was like my second choice because he's a cool guy. But I like Blaziken. I took Torchic when the third generation first came out. So yeah, it's pretty I don't know. There's a lot of spectacle to that game. There's a lot of things like blowing up and shooting all over the place, which is definitely cool. So you're a trainer and you have like a backup trainer who's like giving you help, kind of like I guess like your I don't know
Like a
your
partner?
coach, like a coach, kind of boxing like a coach,
Okay.
but which you would think is the trainer, but it's like a coach for the coach, and it's just kind of helping you out. Like, hey, don't forget to use a partner Pokemon. Don't forget to use your whatever the attack is when you press both the triggers in. And
Burst.
your is it burst?
I don't know. I've watched some footage of it.
Okay, maybe it's burst. Again, I haven't played it since the weekend. Um, she never shuts up.
You can
Like,
turn
oh
her
my
off.
God,
You
I
can turn
did.
her off. Okay.
I totally did. Like, you can go into the options. you can turn her off, and I did that because wow, she never turns off. Also, it costs like $300,000 to get a haircut in that game, which I don't
Yeah,
even have enough money for
that
that.
that's just the Tekken side of things. Because in I played Tekken 5 a lot, and that was literally like, if you want a guitar, it's $50,000. If you want dreadlocks for your character, it's $10 million.
Yeah, it definitely costs like a lot. So but I did unlock like a pink cheetah print uh shirt, so my guy's wearing that.
Nice.
And I had enough money for a scarf.
Is that
So
is that for your Pokemon or for your trainer?
for my trainer, which the trainers don't even show up like behind the Pokemon. There's literally like it almost looks like an augmented reality, like if you were wearing the goggles, but it's just like a screen behind the Pokemon with your face on it. The anime trainer face on it.
Yeah.
Um, you can throw little taglines under your name when you first start a match, and like your Pokemon come up, and it says, Sean, and it says Blaziken level, whatever my current fight level is, and then you can have a little tagline. You can have some real cool stuff like "Don't go too hard on me," and there's some real choice bad ones. I can't remember what my current one is, but I made myself sound like a total loser, which was pretty good.
Nice. It's like,
Yeah,
not again.
yeah, something like that. Or, but I mean, I really wish I could look it up. I'll try and get it for next time. Other than that, though, it plays super easily, and I haven't even come close to dying. I think the most is I've lost a tenth of my health at one point, and I've probably done about 15 matches, which would have been like 30 fights. So I think, yeah, a tenth of my health is about the most I've been
I
damaged.
I assume that's local and not online.
This is all local. Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
going through the main single player in the beginning. Again, I've only played an hour, so I'm hoping, and I'm sure it will get much harder. But I'm having fun with it, and it seems totally fine. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Um,
I will probably try it out. I've already got it open, just waiting to go.
it's not. So you've seen footage of it. So
Yeah.
what I didn't know is it's not totally like side scrolling, like 2D, like a 2D plane Street Fighter style. There's like a,
It's like a third person action game.
but it goes back and forth, which is the craziest thing. So first off, you'll start off in kind of like an arena, like it's third person action game. You can run in all four directions, right? You can
Hmm.
run around, you can jump. And then if you hit the other Pokemon hard enough, you cause a phase shift, which the camera changes, and now it's side scrolling until you hit them hard enough again. And apparently in the I think one of them is like the fight phase, which is the 2D one, and then I forget what the other phase is called. I'll just call it like arena phase for the sake of it. I think in fight phase, you're able to do more damage, or the combos change, and it's supposed to be like, give it your all during this one to rack up some serious damage. But yeah, then it switches back. And it's just super odd, and I kind of really wish it was just 2D.
Hmm.
Or at least 2D with like being able to jump forwards and back, like Soul Calibur. That would have been my ideal, is like Soul Calibur, I think. But maybe that's just because I play a lot of Soul Calibur in a while. People are saying it's field phase and dual phase, which
Okay.
sounds right. So, but yeah, other than that, it's odd. It's a really odd mashup. I'm not quite
I've been
sure
hearing
why you
people say
both.
it's more like Smash Brothers than it is Tekken. Would you agree or disagree? Or can you not make
Not
that comparison?
well. I mean, not in the fighting. Maybe in like it's like a real simple fighting game.
Hmm.
But in terms of what you're looking at, no, it's because Smash Bros is only 2D.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a
I
platformer.
meant more in the gameplay than in like the it was like a 3D fighter
Yeah,
or 2D
like it's
fighter.
it's pretty simplified. If you hit like there's clearly like a smash kind of button, like this is going to be your strong attack, and if you hold a direction in that, you'll do something cool enough.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a pretty simple fighting game, which is maybe why I'm doing okay with it. But again, maybe it gets more complex. I'm not quite sure. I've only played about an hour, but I'm liking it, and I'm looking forward to playing more. The reason I've only played a little bit of it is because after finishing my review of Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition, which is that game is fantastic, I've been playing Quantum Break,
Ooh.
and at this and I am reviewing it, so that's why I have it at early. I can't. I think the only thing I can't say is my final thoughts. So but I'm not finished it yet, so I can't really do that anyway. At the moment, though, I'm enjoying this game quite a bit.
Okay, that's
Uh,
good to hear.
yeah. Um, are you? I don't know. How into Alan Wake were you?
Um, eh. I liked Alan Wake, but I believe I only beat the first two chapters.
Okay, what was it? What wasn't doing it for you in Alan Wake, if you remember?
Um, I think I literally just started another game came out while I was playing it, and that's all that happened.
Okay, so nothing like you're not opposed to Alan Wake in any way.
No, I just like it took me a while to get to the first chapter because I was taking my time trying to find secrets and stuff like that.
Right. So this one has a lot of secrets again. There's a lot of things to find. And I'm searching for all of them, but I'm a lot of them are like additional things to read, like emails and stuff. And I'm not reading them. I'm just collecting them
Mm.
just for the sake of it. But there's some real cool aspects of things you can find, which I'll get into a little bit later. First off, just side note, there's a lot of Alan Wake Easter eggs in this, which I love, which is just great. Like you'll come across Alan Wake books because he's a writer. So Alan Wake takes place in this universe, by the way.
Cool.
They are in the same universe. Your character,
Did
Jack Joyce, will mention, "Oh, Alan Wake, man, I love that writer. I've read like all of his books."
didn't Max Payne also take place in the Alan Wake universe? Isn't there
Um,
reference to Max Payne in Alan Wake?
I think he shows up on like TV or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. So that's great. Yeah, Remedy Entertainment, all their games, I guess they're connected, which is great. This game's a lot faster than Alan Wake, which makes sense because
Ooh.
Alan
Okay.
Wake was like an asthmatic writer running through the woods slowly. This one, you're a time wizard, basically. So the game starts off, you're Jack Joyce, played by
Sean Ashmore.
Sean Ashmore, from, Dude, Where's My Car fame,
What?
right? Wasn't he in Dude, Where's
You're
My
thinking
Car?
Sean Astin, I think.
You
Or
could see
you're
how
thinking Sean William Scott.
you could, all right, Sean William Scott, that's true.
Sean Ashmore was Iceman in the X-Men movies, and
You're
he
right.
was one of the kids from Animorphs.
Are you serious? I did not know that one.
I think he was Jake, the main kid from the show.
I don't believe you.
I'm gonna look that up
Honestly,
because
don't
that's
believe
the
you.
reason I know his name to begin with.
Okay. I mean, maybe because I don't remember anything about that show. I did read a lot of those books. Uh, but anyway, so you play Jack Joyce. You're coming to visit an old friend who I can't remember who he's played by. It might be the Game of Thrones dude. It actually probably is the Game of
Yeah.
Thrones dude.
He was Jake in Animorphs.
Crazy. I don't remember anything about the show. I've heard a lot of people saying that show is garbage.
It kind of was.
Yeah. Um, but anyway, you're coming to see an old colleague who used to work with your brother, played by Dominic Monaghan of Lost and Lord of the Rings fame. And also that dude from The Wire, the tall black guy, is in this. There's a lot of like actual actors in this.
Hmm.
And again, I'll explain why that relates into the game later. Anyway, so you're coming to meet an old friend at a university when something goes crazy and you get time powers. You can do stuff like everything is like time dodge, time stop, time warp. But you pressing the B button will make like a time shield for you, which bullets that get shot at you will like stop right in front of you, and you can kind of like escape or stop taking damage for a bit. You can send out like a time bubble on a guy, which will stop him. You can then shoot into the time bubble. The time bubble will kind of turn orange, and then it'll basically like explode, and all the bullets will hit the guy at once.
Cool.
Time dodging, yeah, you basically like leap. It's basically like a quick dash, and then if you hold down the left trigger after doing it, time will slow down. So you can kind of like dash right beside a guy, slow down time, and then take him out, which I do constantly. It's one of my
So this
things.
sounds like a proper mix of bullet time and like Neo from the Matrix.
Sure, yeah. Sure, I can see that. Um, or yeah, because and like I said, Max Payne if you had more time powers.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else can you do. You have like a some kind of time blast where you like power up something in your arm and then you'll like release like an explosion whatever you're pointing at. And if enemies die that way, they'll just like stay frozen in time, which is another cool thing. There's so much cool visual tricks happening throughout this whole game. Almost, I would say at least half the time when you kill an enemy, once they've like died and begin ragdolling, they'll immediately freeze in like their flying back motion because time is like stopping and starting, and they'll just like stay suspended in the air and stuff like that. There was a whole cool set piece in Act Two where like a shipping yard and like a giant like transport ship gets like knocked down, but then time freezes as the whole thing is collapsing, and you're walking your way through this maze like collapsing building. And time is constantly kind of going forwards and backwards. So you'll be like walking, and then all of a sudden things will collapse, and you're just like, oh wow, glad I wasn't a little ahead. And then you'll keep walking, and then it'll like completely like rewind a whole section. There'll be like constant explosions that you're walking through, or people will shoot at you and then time will stop because the whole thing is time is broken. So these
Mm.
will come out of nowhere. Someone could be shooting at you, time will stop, and then super hot like you're walking around the bullet trails as you're walking to the next area and stuff like that. So the
Cool.
visual stuff is super cool. Like if I was to say like Alan Wake knocked it out of the park with its lighting in the forest, this is knocking it out of its park with just like the cool time manipulation and weird motion graphics effects of people looking like they're like jittering the whole time because time is broken and stopping and whatnot. People are asking me in the chat, how close is this to like stuff in the Matrix and Super Hot? It's a lot of it is kind of similar. But you're not directly controlling like the flow of time. You're not like walking to, super hot style. You're not walking to make things go. It's just things will kind of pop up because there's fractures. Time has been broken. Time is coming to an end. Is the big thing. And then the other part, which is like the craziest part, is there's literally like 22-minute long live action episodes that will play. So you'll finish an act. Let's just say Act One. You
Okay.
finish Act One, which is like 2 or 3 chapters. So for each act. So you'll finish that, and then in the final chapter, you'll play as the antagonist, and
Wait.
it's just like a complete narrative section. But the antagonist has to make a serious choice, and you'll get two options, and it'll be like, for example, and I'll spoil a little bit of the very first act. Okay, you capture one of the people who was protesting the time experiments at the university,
Hmm.
and you need to decide, am I going to kill her to show like we're putting our foot down about these protests, which will turn the population against you, or do you create a PR campaign? You don't kill her, but you force her to blame it all on Jack Joyce. um but doing that, she lives and she steals some of your data and gives it to Jack. And you know what's going to happen. Like you get to watch both of them play out before you make your decision. And then you have to decide. And they do
Interesting.
that after every act. And then immediately following that, the game, fades to black and then fades on a 22-minute long episode of the Quantum Break TV show, which is a different set of characters that slowly come in and out of this story. They connect more and more as the game goes on, and you're seeing what their story is going about and what they're trying to accomplish while time is breaking, and you're watching like a literal episode of TV.
So the protagonist and the antagonist of the game are not in the show that happens between acts.
They are, but only like briefly, and they're starting to show up more and more because, like I said, those two plot lines are starting to connect more and more. But at the beginning, they're only briefly in those things. For example,
Do
Jack.
your choices affect the show, or is it all locked in?
No, they affect the show so much.
What?
They filmed several different episodes, and here's where it gets crazier. So I mentioned there's some really cool collectibles you can find. One collectible I found was it was like a football cutout basically, and Jack was just like, oh hey, what, this is weird. Tons of stuff's weird, so I didn't think anything of it.
Mm.
During the live action thing, the characters were walking in the woods, and they were like, hang on, what's that? And they pointed over, and that cutout was there. And they're like, why is that in the woods? And I'm like, I don't know, let's keep going. But it's so fluid, like it's not like they cut to, it's like, all right, here's the piece we slotted into this. It's so fluid, like that they filmed this. So they filmed multiple versions of these live action episodes, not just based on your choice, but on the collectibles you found.
That is insane.
Here's another example. At one point, I found like a some kind of tablet, and I pressed on it, and it started playing an audiobook, and this was actually pretty funny. For whatever reason, this tablet was pitched into the bad guys' PA system,
Mm.
so an audiobook was just playing on everyone's radios, and they were like, "Why is this happening? Please turn this off." And Jack, the main character's like, "I'm gonna leave that playing." During the live action the live action episode, a character walks into a part of the building and the audiobook was playing and he was like, "What is that?" And they're like, "We're not sure. We're trying to figure it out." And he's like, "Well, figure it out soon." And then he goes back to why he came to this building and stuff.
That's weird and cool.
It's super cool. Like Alan Wake did some really cool, like it's narratively it's so cool and they put so much time into telling that story. Like it's very narrative focused. And this is just as narrative focused despite being so much more on the gunplay than Alan Wake was. There's tons of sections where you're just walking around because time is frozen and you're learning more stuff, and there's tons of live action stuff. It's really cool, but I can't say that final yet. That's not my final thing. For all I know, it's going to be terrible. But right now, I've played about 5, maybe 6 hours most of it. And yeah, that's that, and I've been enjoying it quite
And
a
so
bit.
you've seen two episodes of the show as a
I've
result.
seen 3. I just
Oh,
watched
okay.
the third one. And I literally knew an episode was coming up, so I was like, "Well, I'm gonna get some dinner, and I'm just gonna watch this episode
Can you
while I'm
pause
eating."
the episode?
Yeah,
Thank goodness. Okay.
yes, you can.
On
Yes, you
board. I'm
can.
on board with this now.
Um, it looks like Paul is here. He's I'm gonna see if I can add him in. Add people to this call. It's too bad that Paul missed this my Quantum Break section because I feel like he would have been quite into it. The last thing I'll say, and this is the one negative I've noticed, is during the live action stuff, it streams the episodes to you.
Mm-hmm.
You also do have the option of downloading them, but I've just been streaming them, and the streaming sometimes it doesn't connect very well. I know it can't really be on my end because I'm running wired and everything, and sometimes it's fine. So something server side on their end. I've had the thing like stop and pause and be like still buffering, and then it just straight up died and said like can't connect. But there's an option to like try